This is Neil Schneider for MTBS-TV at CES 2014. I'm joined by Jan Goetgeluk, the founder of Virtuix, and Virtuix Omni, I should say.
That's right.
So why don't you tell us your story? How did you get started with this?
Well, the Omni started about 2.5 years ago. You know, it was part of meant to be seen on the forums, a lot of discussion about virtual reality, how it was going to be the next big thing. And one big problem that hadn't been solved yet was how do you physically walk around in a virtual world? How do you, I didn't want to sit down on my chair with my glasses on, pushing buttons on a gamepad or a keyboard. I wanted to naturally move around in a game, and that's why I developed the Omni.
Okay, excellent. Can you explain some of the fundamentals as to how the Omni works?
The Omni is in essence an omnidirectional treadmill, but we eliminated all the moving parts. So it's in essence a low friction surface on which you walk with shoes that have a low friction sole, but the objective is to mimic a natural gait so you can walk naturally in the virtual world.
So we should actually elaborate, I think, why this is an innovation, because there have been other attempts at this. Maybe you could elaborate the big problems that you had to overcome.
Now you're right. When I started looking for omnidirectional treadmills, I found that there's dozens of patents out there that describe omnidirectional treadmills. But none of those I found were viable, either commercially or technologically. I wanted to develop an omnidirectional treadmill that was affordable for consumers, that was compact, and it also would enable you to walk naturally. And there's big devices out there, the Virtuix, there's motorized designs out there, but none of those are affordable for consumers, and I wanted to make a consumer device.
Okay, excellent, excellent. So let's talk a little bit about the fundamentals as to how it works. Now, obviously, it's a slippery surface, as I discovered myself, but what's under that slippery surface?
So under the surface are capacitive sensors. So we integrated tracking technology in the base of the Omni that tracks your feet at all time, and then our software will transit your motion into keystrokes that drive the avatar in the game. So the Omni works out of the box with any existing game.
Now forgive my ignorance, when we're talking about capacitive sensors, what are we referring to?
It's basically like the touchscreen on your smartphone. It's a touchpad.
Is there any latency or any disadvantage with this technology?
The big advantage is that it's low latency and highly accurate. You know, we used the Microsoft Kinect before. Now for the first time we're here without Kinect. And it's just, the reaction speed is great and just boosts the immersion even more.
Now we're looking at, and this is a case where we're playing Half-Life 2 VR. Are there any software limitations? Or what will this effectively work with?
The Omni works with any game out of the box because our software basically just translates your motion to keystrokes or gamepad input. So any game that uses keyboard input or gamepad input will work out of the box with the Omni.
Now, this is when are you planning to actually release this as a commercial product?
So the Omni is available right now on our website as pre-orders. The first units will be shipped in May of this year.
Okay, so why don't we set some expectations for fellow VR gamers? First, when I first heard of the Virtuix Omni, and of course I saw the videos, I was expecting to just jump on and you start running around. But there's actually a process that you go through ahead of time. Maybe you could describe the protocol for new gamers.
No, absolutely. Virtual reality is not something you jump into right away. It takes some training. It's a very intense experience. Once you put the Rift on, you're in a different world. Same with the Omni. You need a couple of minutes of training to get used. It's like riding a bike. The first couple of moments, it's kind of awkward, right? But it gets second nature very quickly. So you need to, get used to the motion before you can really jump in and be a full action hero.
Okay, so yeah, because for myself, I admit, when I went on, I could tell I'm walking around, but it's it is jarring at first because you've got to coordinate both with. In this case, we're using the Oculus Rift, which has like a head tracking, so you're looking around the environment. Plus you're walking. We do that every day, but once you're on this platform, we have to remind ourselves that we do that every day.
And you did great for your first time. The second time you do it, you'll be doing great. The third time, it'll be second nature. You won't even think about it anymore.
Now, this is still, it looks to me that it's still in a bit of a prototype phase. What type of things are you working on with the Virtuix Omni before shipping it out?
Yeah, so this is a prototype we make here in Houston with capacitive tracking. Now in China, we're setting up our production right now, so we have a prototype in China that is closer to the production unit. So that is done overseas.
And what kind of polish will we see in the commercial Virtuix Omni?
The final version will be a little bit smaller, a little bit sleeker. It will be plastic injection molded with a steel endoskeleton for the strength, but overall it will be sleeker looking. This is a bit of a clunky prototype.
So, okay, so let's talk a little bit about, I don't want to call it the clunkiness, but a little bit of the things, the tweaks that, I experienced. So the first question I have is safety. I mean, for myself, I'm looking forward to getting one myself. And this is probably going to go in my basement. I'm going to be alone in the basement playing with my head-mounted display and the Omni. And, how safe is it that I don't want to, like, fall over and break my neck and no one will know about it?
The Omni is absolutely safe. You have the support harness that supports your full weight up to 285 pounds. You can't fall in the Omni, you can't hurt yourself. That was crucial for us. We have a fixed support structure that doesn't go up and down with you. It's safety first. That was crucial for us.
Okay, excellent. And the brace, I take it, is that getting upgraded as well?
Yeah, what you see here is just a prototype, which is functional but quite ugly and not comfortable. That is all being upgraded right now for a production version.
Okay, excellent. Now, one remaining issue I had was, as you get really active in the game, you're twisting and turning, but there's wiring involved as well. Is it a consistent issue where the wire spins about, or do you have some ideas around that?
Yeah. I don't find it a big issue. For example, Steve here has been playing for the last 5 minutes or so. He doesn't get tangled up. You get used to managing the cable, you work around it. Subconsciously, you don't even think about it anymore. So that's why we're not here with overhead booms. I don't think it's necessary. Novice users, of course, you feel the cable. No cable would be better. But in the meantime, I think it's fine.
Now, the software support, you've described that it works with pretty much all games. Can you describe the software that the Virtuix Omni comes with?
Yeah, so we have our own user interface that will be the interface between the data received from the base, from the Omni, that drives the input to the game. The Omni will also come with an SDK, so game developers can use some of these novel motion functions for their game development. For example, analog walking speed. I want to match your speed in the game to your actual speed on the Omni, or absolute walking direction. I want you to be able to walk forward, look left, shoot right, all at the same time. And that's not possible yet with existing games, but it will be with the Omni.
So is this something that would be like a native support add-on, or do you think this is something that you could do through your own software?
This will all be through our software, yes.
Okay, so I could take Half-Life 2 VR or any game and have it adjust and compensate through your middleware so that it's in tune with my body. Is that correct?
Well, existing games are a little bit limited. Existing games, for example, Half-Life, just 2 speeds, walking and running. There's nothing in between. So there you won't have that analog walking speed. What we can do with existing games is give you some sense of decoupled walking and looking. We can, with our software, ensure you can walk forward and look left at the same time just by generating the appropriate keystrokes. So we can do that in existing games.
So let me ask the question a different way. If I was a game developer and I have a very big interest in virtual reality and I'm looking at devices like this, as a game developer, what could I do to make my games more applicable for technologies like this?
Well, we will actually kick off our Game Developers Outreach program in a couple of weeks, where our Director of Developer Relations will start reaching out to the community, reaching out to developers, informing them of our SDK, helping them make games appropriate for the Omni, and introducing to them all these exciting new motion functions that developers can use for new games.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Now, you were on Shark Tank recently, and by the way, I thought you did an awesome job. Those guys are so nasty. I don't think they understand the market at all, but that's a side story. What are your thoughts on video, like gamers, and their willingness to use technologies like this? Because it sounds to me when those investors were speaking with you, they were dismissing us as, they don't want to exercise. But I'm not sure if this is really exercise. Do you see this as exercise? Will people think of it that way?
This is a very fun and immersive gaming experience that, by the way, keeps you fit on top of that. People are excited about that. The sharks had this stereotype in their heads that gamers are lazy couch potatoes, and that is just not true. We have so many gamers come up to us at trade shows saying how excited they are to finally be able to play games and do some exercise at the same time. Nobody likes to be overweight. People would love to be fit. People don't want to exercise. Well, if you can play a game and be immersed, and guess what? You're burning some calories at the same time. I mean, that's a no-brainer, right? It's a win-win.
Now, have you been putting some thought into applications outside of video games? Do you have some ideas that you've been toying with?
No, absolutely. We get a lot of inbound calls from corporations that want to use the Omni for a wide variety of applications. Training and simulation is an obvious one, military, but also corporate training, oil and gas training, exercise and fitness, like you mentioned, gyms, arcades. Here's another one, architectural design. Companies want to start using virtual reality for design purposes, to physically walk around in a design before actually building something. A very effective way to detect design flaws, to get a sense of space, of distance. The applications for virtual reality for the Omni are so wide and limitless. It's very exciting.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the choice of HMD. Now, you're using an Oculus Rift. Everyone's got one. That's why they're there as developers kits, so people can start preparing for technologies like this. Now, speaking generically, because there's going to be other solutions in the market, what would be helpful from a display maker or a head-mounted display maker to be more effective with your technology? What types of flexibility or limitations, are useful for you?
No, that's a good question. I think Oculus now has the monopoly with the headset. But I think there will be quite a few other devices coming to market in the next 12 months, and I'm excited about that. Mobile is the fastest growing gaming segment. If we can eliminate any use of wires or cables coming from the headset, that would be great for the Omni.
Okay, excellent, excellent. And what about positional tracking or rotational tracking? Is there a preference between the two?
Yeah, rotational tracking has to be low latency. I think Oculus has that down. Positional tracking would certainly add in the immersion. I think Oculus announced today their solution. The 6 and STEM is another great solution for positional tracking of the hands, of guns, but also of the head. So I think there's some good solutions in the market that can positionally track whatever body part you want to track.
Okay, excellent. Now the shoes, I was very happy that you had a pair of shoes waiting for me, but what's required? Do you need to have custom shoes to make this work? Is there an add-on for existing shoes? How is that being handled?
So right now the Omni comes with shoes. We offer all sizes, size 4 to 15, even half sizes. It will come with the Omni. You can order additional shoes. So it comes with fully functional shoes, which is good because we can control the functionality. We know they will work great. They're very comfortable, they're very soft, almost like house shoes, but also athletic. So you'll be able to play the Omni for hours. So that's a solution right now. We might be looking at maybe solutions that clip onto your existing shoes. That is a possibility. We're looking into that, but it's not as easy. So right now, use our existing shoes. They look great, they work great, and they're very comfortable.
Okay, excellent. Now, you and I are approximately the same height. Are there any recommendations on how tall someone needs to be to effectively use this?
Right, the Omni works for people ranging from 4'8" to 6'5". So the support ring will be easy to adjust in height, just almost with two paddles lift it up and down, very easy to adjust for the height of the user.
Okay, excellent. What about age? Are there certain age groups that you think this is appropriate for?
Not with the Omni. I think Oculus has a minimum of 12 years for the glasses. For us, it doesn't matter much.
Okay, excellent. And I feel silly for not asking this. What's the range of movement in the Omni? What can you do on this platform?
Run, walk, jump, strafe, walk backwards, and even sit, all in 360 degrees.
Okay, excellent. Sounds like a lot of movement.
That's right, absolutely.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We've been talking to Jan Goetgeluk from Virtuix, showing us the Virtuix Omni. Oh, 2 quick points. How much? And well, you said when it would be available. Just give our viewers a refresher.
Available right now on our website for pre-order, $499 at virtuix.com.
Okay, excellent. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back with more from CES 2014. Thank you for watching.